Welcome back to Timeless Wisdom Podcast, where we uncover those gems of knowledge hidden within Islamic teachings.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been reflecting on Surah Al-Fatiha lately, especially verses 6 and 7, where we ask Allah to guide us to the straight path.
Powerful.
It's such a simple plea, yet it's the heart of our relationship with Allah.
It is, isn't it? It's fascinating. We repeat those verses multiple times daily in our prayers.
Absolutely.
But how often do we pause and truly contemplate their depth?
Right.
It's like a roadmap, a compass, and a lifeline all rolled into one.
It makes me think about verse 2.186, where Allah says,
Yes.
When my servants ask you about me, I am indeed nearmost. I answer the supplicant's call when he calls me. This connection, this assurance that Allah is always listening is incredibly powerful.
And it highlights a fundamental principle of Islam, the importance of seeking guidance. But the source material we're diving into today goes deeper, explaining that there are actually two types of guidance.
That's interesting.
Layers of support for our journey.
Tell me more about these two types of guidance.
Well, we have what we could call general guidance. It's universal, a gift from Allah to all of humanity, regardless of their beliefs. Think about the inherent human desire for meaning, for purpose. We see this across cultures and throughout history.
For sure.
General guidance through our fitra, natural disposition, and the signs in creation points us towards a higher power, towards right and wrong, and helps us build a moral compass.
So it's a foundation for understanding the world and our place in it.
Exactly. It's that innate sense that tells us lying is wrong, that helping others is good, that there's something bigger than ourselves out there. It's what allows societies to function and for individuals to live with a sense of purpose. But then there's divine guidance. And this is where things get really transformative for believers.
I'm all ears. What makes divine guidance so special?
Think of it like this. General guidance is like having a map which shows you the general direction. But divine guidance is like having a personal guide who knows the terrain, can anticipate challenges, and offers tailored support. It goes beyond just knowing right from wrong. It's about navigating the complexities of life in a way that brings us closer to Allah and aligns our actions with His will.
That makes so much sense. The difference between knowing the rules of the game and having a coach who can help you master the skills and win the championship.
Precisely.
Wow.
And the Quran provides us with a powerful example of what happens when people reject this divine guidance. The tribe of Thamud, despite receiving Allah's message through the Prophet Salih, chose to ignore it. They had the map, but they refused the guide.
And the consequences were severe, right?
Oh, yeah.
Verse 41.17 describes their destruction in detail.
For sure.
It's a sobering reminder that while we have free will, our choices have consequences.
Yes, and it highlights a crucial point. Simply being exposed to general guidance isn't enough. We need to actively embrace divine guidance, to surrender to Allah's will and allow Him to lead us on the straight path. Those who do are promised immense support and protection, as described in verse 47.77, where Allah says, He leads them far ahead in their right ways and grants them piety and restraints from evil suited to their condition.
It's like having a divine safety net, a constant source of strength and guidance to help us navigate life's challenges.
Exactly. And it raises an important question. Who, despite having access to this divine guidance, might be deprived of it?
Interesting.
The Quran mentions three types of individuals who might fall into this category.
This is where things get really interesting. Help me understand who these individuals are and why they might miss out on this incredible gift.
The Quran speaks of disbelievers, the corrupt, and the unjust. Firstly, there are those who outright reject faith in Allah. This disbelief, as mentioned in verse 16.1/7, acts as a barrier, preventing them from accessing the depths of divine guidance. It's like refusing to acknowledge the existence of the guide, let alone accepting their guidance.
That makes perfect sense. If you don't believe in the source of guidance, you're unlikely to open yourself to its influence.
And then there are those who might claim belief, but their actions and intentions are corrupted. Their hearts are not pure and their deeds don't align with their words. Verse 5.10/8 speaks about these individuals, highlighting how their internal state creates disconnect, hindering their ability to truly benefit from divine guidance.
So it's not just about outward rituals, it's about genuine inner transformation and purification.
Absolutely. It's about aligning our hearts, our intentions, and our actions with Allah's guidance. And finally, there are those who consistently choose to act unjustly, harming others and spreading corruption.
Right.
As mentioned in verse 2.258, their own actions create a dissonance that obscures the path of righteousness.
It's like their choices create a fog that prevents them from seeing the straight path clearly.
A great analogy.
Wow.
But now let's shift gears a bit and explore what this straight path actually looks like. The source material uses a powerful analogy of a train track.
Right. I remember reading that. It emphasizes that even small deviations from the straight path can lead us far astray over time.
Exactly.
It's a reminder to constantly check our compass, to reassess our actions and intentions, and make sure we're still aligned with our ultimate goal.
What's fascinating here is that this concept aligns with modern psychology.
Oh, really?
Research shows that even minor negative habits, if left unchecked, can compound over time and lead to significant consequences.
So it's about being vigilant, about constantly striving to stay on course, and making those small but consistent adjustments to ensure we're moving towards our destination.
Exactly. It's about understanding that the straight path is the shortest and most direct route to spiritual fulfillment. It's the path that leads to paradise, both in this life and the hereafter. And it's important to note that this path isn't about deprivation or restriction, but rather about aligning our actions and intentions with Allah's will.
And who better to guide us on this path than those who have already walked it successfully?
Sure.
The source material highlights the individuals who have been blessed by Allah, the prophets, the truthful, those who bear witness to the truth, and the righteous.
These are our role models, our spiritual mentors.
Right.
By studying their lives, understanding their struggles and triumphs, and emulating their qualities, we can gain valuable insights into what it truly means to be on the straight path. Their stories are full of wisdom and practical guidance for us to apply in our own lives.
It's like having a map and guide and a group of experienced travelers all helping us reach our destination. This is starting to paint a really clear picture of what this journey looks like.
And remember, Allah has promised to support us every step of the way.
Right.
The hadith you mentioned earlier, when my servant says, guide us to the straight path, He Almighty replies, this is for my servant, and my servant shall have what he has asked for, is a testament to that.
This is incredibly reassuring, knowing that our sincere desire for guidance will always be met with divine support.
It is.
But there's still so much more to uncover, right?
Absolutely. In our next segment, we'll delve deeper into what it looks like to walk this straight path in our daily lives. What are some practical signs that we're on the right track? Stay tuned for part 2 of our exploration into Surah Al-Fatiha.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to Timeless Wisdom Podcast. We're continuing our exploration of Surah Al-Fatiha, delving deeper into the concept of the straight path.
Last time we talked about the two types of guidance, general and divine, and how understanding these can shape our journey as believers. Now, I'm really curious to explore what it looks like to actually walk this straight path. Are there any signs, any indicators that we're on the right track?
That's a great question, and one that many of us contemplate on our spiritual journeys.
Sure.
The Quran offers a multitude of insight. One of the most powerful comes from reflecting on the lives of those who Allah has blessed. Remember those we mentioned earlier, the prophets, the truthful, those who bear witness to the truth, and the righteous. Their stories provide a blueprint, a tangible example of what it means to live a life pleasing to Allah.
So by studying their lives, their choices, their challenges and triumphs, we can glean practical guidance for our own paths.
Precisely. Take, for instance, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Right.
His life was a testament to honesty, compassion, justice, and unwavering faith. These qualities, so beautifully embodied in his character, are hallmarks of someone walking the straight path.
It's like having a role model, a tangible example of how these virtues translate into action.
Exactly. And beyond studying specific examples, there are certain inner qualities that can indicate we're moving in the right direction. A sense of peace, for example, even amidst life's inevitable storms, is a powerful sign.
It's that feeling of being grounded, anchored to something larger than ourselves, even when the world around us feels chaotic.
Yes. And it's important to remember that this path is not about achieving some unattainable perfection. It's about striving for continuous improvement, seeking knowledge, and making a conscious effort to align our actions with our values.
So it's a journey of self-reflection and growth, always aiming to become the best versions of ourselves, the versions Allah intended for us to be.
Beautifully put. And this journey, like any other, will have its share of bumps and detours.
Sure.
We'll stumble, we'll make mistakes, but it's that unwavering determination to get back up, to learn from our experiences, and to keep moving forward that truly defines our commitment to the straight path.
It's that resilience, that refusal to give up even when faced with setbacks.
Absolutely. And this brings us to another crucial aspect of this journey. The practical steps we can take to strengthen our connection with Allah and stay firmly rooted on this path.
Now, this is where it gets really exciting for our listeners. What are some tangible things we can do in our daily lives to make this connection stronger?
One of the most powerful tools we have, and one that we often take for granted, is prayer. It's a direct line of communication with Allah, a space where we can pour our hearts out, express our gratitude, seek guidance, and find strength.
It's like having a conversation with our Creator, sharing our hopes and fears, our joys and sorrows, and knowing that He's listening with infinite compassion.
Exactly. And beyond the ritual prayers, we can cultivate a mindset of constant remembrance of Allah throughout our day.
Right.
This can be through simple acts like reciting Quranic verses, reflecting on His blessings, or engaging in acts of kindness.
It's about weaving spirituality into the fabric of our lives, making it an integral part of who we are rather than just something we do at specific times.
Beautifully said. Another critical step is seeking knowledge. The more we understand about our faith, its wisdom, its principles, the better equipped we are to apply its teachings to our lives.
So it's not just about blind faith. It's about understanding the why behind our beliefs and actions.
Absolutely. Reading the Quran, studying the Hadith, engaging in thoughtful discussions with scholars and fellow believers, all of these deepen our understanding and strengthen our bond with Allah.
It's about building a strong foundation for our spiritual journey, ensuring that our faith is rooted in knowledge and understanding.
And let's not forget the importance of surrounding ourselves with good company. The people we spend time with, the communities we engage with, can have a profound impact on our journey. Family members who share your values and who can help you stay on course. Remember, we're not on this journey alone.
Right.
We're part of a larger ummah, a global community of believers who support and encourage one another.
This is all so empowering. It feels like we're being given a roadmap, a compass, and a toolkit, all to help us navigate this journey.
And the most beautiful thing is that Allah is always with us, guiding us, supporting us, and waiting for us to turn to Him. But we can't forget that there will be moments of doubt, moments of uncertainty, moments when we feel lost and alone.
That's a perfect segue into our next segment. We've talked about guidance, the straight path, and practical steps to stay connected. But what about those inevitable roadblocks?
Right.
Those times when we feel overwhelmed and unsure of which way to turn.
That's where supplication comes, and that powerful act of turning to Allah for help, guidance, and strength when we need it most.
I'm eager to learn more about that. Stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive into Surah Al-Fatiha, where we'll explore the transformative power of supplication and how to harness its potential in our lives. Welcome back to Timeless Wisdom Podcast.
Right.
We've been on quite a journey exploring Surah Al-Fatiha, haven't we?
We have.
From understanding the different types of guidance Allah provides, to recognizing the sign of being on the straight path.
Right.
And taking practical steps to strengthen our connection with Him.
Absolutely.
And now we arrive at what I find to be one of the most beautiful and comforting aspects of our faith, supplication. It's something we've touched on throughout this discussion, but I'm eager to delve deeper into its transformative power.
For sure. It's truly a remarkable gift from Allah, a direct line of communication with our Creator, a space where we can pour out our hearts, express our needs, and seek His help without any reservation.
It's in those moments of vulnerability when we feel lost or overwhelmed that the power of supplication becomes most apparent.
Right.
It's like that lifeline we cling to when we feel like we're drowning in a sea of uncertainty or despair.
A beautiful analogy. Yeah. And what's so incredible about supplication is that it's not limited to specific times or places.
Right.
We can call upon Allah anytime, anywhere, with any need, no matter how big or small.
It's like having access to a 247 hotline to the divine, a constant source of comfort and support.
Exactly. And this accessibility speaks volumes about Allah's infinite mercy and compassion. He wants us to turn to Him, to confide in Him, to rely on Him in every aspect of our lives.
And it's not just about asking for things, is it?
Right.
There's a deeper dimension to supplication, a profound shift in our perspective.
You're absolutely right. It's about acknowledging our limitations, recognizing our dependence on Allah, and surrendering to His will.
It's about letting go of that illusion of control we so often cling to and finding peace in knowing that we're not alone in our struggles.
And that surrender, that act of placing our trust in Allah's plan, can be incredibly empowering. It frees us from the burden of carrying everything on our own shoulders and allows us to tap into a source of strength far greater than ourselves.
It reminds me of that beautiful verse from Surah Al-Baqarah 2.186, where Allah says, "When my servants ask you about me, I am indeed nearmost. I answer the supplicant's call when he calls me." It's such a comforting reminder of his closeness and responsiveness.
It's a testament to his love for us, his desire to guide us and support us on our journey.
And we have to remember that his answers may not always come in the form we expect,
Right.
or on the timeline we desire.
Exactly. Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes it's no, and sometimes it's wait. But we can trust that he always responds in a way that's ultimately for our benefit, even if we don't see it at the time.
It's about trusting his wisdom and his timing, even when it's difficult.
And those times when the answer is wait can be incredibly valuable opportunities for growth. They teach us patience, perseverance, and a deeper reliance on Allah.
It's in those moments of waiting that our faith is truly tested and refined.
Beautifully said. It's amazing how this entire discussion has circled back to that central theme of guidance, which is the very essence of Surah Al-Fatiha.
From the opening plea, guide us to the straight path, to understanding the different layers of guidance Allah provides, to recognizing the signs of being on that path, and taking practical steps to strengthen our connection with Him. And finally, to surrendering our worries and desires through supplication. It's all interconnected.
And it highlights the beauty and comprehensiveness of Islam. It's a way of life that provides guidance and support for every step of our journey.
Before we conclude, I want to remind our listeners about the incredible resource you mentioned earlier, the Broke Entrepreneur YouTube channel.
Right.
It's a fantastic platform for those seeking to deepen their understanding of Islam and find practical guidance for personal growth.
I highly recommend checking it out. They offer a wealth of insightful content that can truly enrich your spiritual journey.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into Surah Al-Fatiha, let's carry this wisdom with us into our daily lives, remembering that the Quran's wisdom is timeless. Apply it today.